Hey everyone, if you've ever wondered how tables are made on Flipside, well, you're in luck because today I'm going to explain about how the NFT transfers table on Base is created. And this applies to all EVMs. So let's just get started. So normally we would start with the core tables, right? Blocks, transactions, event logs, and traces. And because NFT transfer is an event, so we will use the event logs table. And if you're wondering why I don't use the decoder event logs table, that is because for decoder event logs we need to have the API for each contract. And say if an NFT contract does not have an API, there will not be any decoder event logs for that contract. So we would want to use the event logs table itself so that we can cover all possible cases. Alright, so the NFT transfer table, I think the main things to have in the table is usual stuff like block number, block timestamp, transaction hash. Event index is important, and then the actual NFT address, and then transferred from who to who, token ID, and of course the ERC 1155 value. Now the NFT transfers table, what constitutes as an NFT? Normally it's just 7 to 1. The Ethereum equivalent is are the likes of Azuki, Bored Apes, right? But we also include 1155s, which are another token standard which allows multiple copies of a single token ID or a specific token ID. So an example that I like to give is Base Paint, where you have, so this would be a particular token ID, but you have multiple copies of it. If you see on the top left of each painting, there is a number, right? In this case, day 211, there is a number 1035 on this top left, and that represents the copies or quantity. So we're gonna try to find out the events for these two. Alright, so the first step is of course to find a example NFT. So I'm just gonna go for base board milady. Sure, why not? Look for a transfer. I don't know. Oh god. Okay. Where is it? Oh, I think this is it. The third value here should be token ID, but I don't know why it's not showing token ID. But yeah, this should be the token ID. Alright, so yeah, let's just use this. So again, from base core fact event logs, where timestamp. Today is the 1st of September, so and the extension is this. And I want the I'm just gonna have like timestamp, transaction hash, event index, and then there are topics, and of course data, and I'll use my handy dandy regex for data. Call it segmented. Basically, just this just takes the data field, takes out the first takes out the first two characters, and then for the rest of the string, make an cut it up into lengths of 64 characters and then make it into an array, and it'll be easy to query it that way. k. So this is my 721. And what is my event index? Let's just say 327. Now, this is something I know, but transfer events for both ERC20 and 721 use this topic. So I'm just gonna use this topic. And topics 1 is this. Alright. So let's see what we get. Okay, so let's try to match what we see here with base scan. So the first topic would be from address. Second topic would be the to address. So these are both address types. And then the third topic is it's supposed to be a integer because it is a token ID. So we would have to convert from hex to integer. Yeah, let's do that. So yeah, 721 is pretty straightforward, where you know what, I'm gonna put it after this. Right, we have 3 strings and then no data, right? Yeah, 721, the data would be 0x. So let's just convert this into an address. So topics 1 is from address, and then topic 2 is to address, and then this is the token ID. So because this is an address, so I just need to substring, take out the first 24 characters, and wait, let me recall how do I do this. Is it like this? I hope so. And then do the same here. So this is just standard conversion of this data to address type. 40. And then topics 3 is supposed to be token ID. So this would be something like utils udf hex to int token ID. Yeah. And I'll just convert token ID to a string, just for good measures. Alright, what do we have? So from address is 002D. Let's compare. Okay, looks like it is not 002D, which means I need to start from, this is the 25th, 26th, and 7, 27 characters. Let's try that again. Alright, so 0x2d, this is correct. And it ends with BFA, ends with BFA, yep, that's it. And then the to address would be 935, and then it ends with BBC. Ends with BBC, yeah. So just like that, we have decoded our 721s. Right, and then token ID is 140. Let's see, 3 to 7. Let's look at the overview and see if a token ID 140 is indeed the last event that was transferred. So yeah, that's basically it. So we just need to use topics for 721. No data is needed. Sorry, no use of the data field, the data column for 721s. And that is it. Pretty straightforward. Now what I will do is I would try to only query the core table once. So I'm gonna make this core table as like a raw table, and then make this as a CTE for 721s. So something like with logs as, and select all from this table, and then topics 0 string in, and then this will be my list of topics. Oops. So the first one that goes in will be this one. So this will be 7 to 1. Right, 7 to 1 has only one transfer type, and it's literally transferring from address to address. And what is the token ID? And then call this as like ERC721 transfers as from logs, remove this, and then I can also remove my event index if I want. And yeah, I think that's it. So that's all for 721. Now let's move on to 1155s. Now 1155s is a bit tricky. So let's just look at an example. Recently created. So this is the latest paint created today. Let's look at transfers. Mint, I guess a mint is a transfer, so alright, so I'll be using this example to find out all the possible topics that are related to a 1155 transfer. So I'm taking this transaction over here. So same thing. Select all from logs where tx hash is this, and then I'm taking the first event index. So event index is 101. So if I'm going too fast, feel free to just pause the video and then look through. And also leave in the comments to let me know if I'm going too fast. What is it that I want? Okay, because I want to know like what are the possible topics. So instead of filtering by the topic, I'm going to filter by the contract address, where contract address, which is the NFT address, is this, which is the base token. Remember to do a lower function if there is upper cases in this address, like this one does. And then I'm going to do a qualify, so topics string like this, and then transaction hash. So the reason I'm doing a qualify is because I'm able to see all the possible topics given this particular contract address. So order by, and that should give us however many possible topics related to this contract. What am I doing wrong? Oh, okay. So I filtered the topics here, which says belongs to the 7 to 1, and I should just remove this for now. So again, this gives me all the possible topics that this contract address has, and because we know this contract address is an 1155, it should tell me all the possible 1155 topics. Alright, the first one. Let's see, let's go through some transactions. I should also probably say what event index this belongs to, but we'll try to find. Okay, so 1033 belongs to this artisan. So this is not what we want, because artisan is definitely something related to the base paint token. Right, moving on. Artist withdraw, not what we want. Transfer single. Okay, so this is definitely something that we want. So this is the first topic, and this is a transfer single. Event index 386. And then let's move on. approval for all, not relevant. We're looking for transfers. Painted. Isn't there? Oh wait, I'm not looking at the topics. My bad. Pics. Oh, I see. Maybe I need to filter by an extra day. So I'm extending the time range to not just that day on September. And yeah. And the reason I'm doing this is because I know there is another transfer event related to 1155s besides transfer single. But if you want to know for sure, you can just click on the NFT address, look through its ABI or something like this. Right, copy its ABI, go to this website, paste the ABI, and look for transfer. Ownership transfer batch. That's the one that we're looking for. And notice how it says event, which means this is an event, the name of an event, or the name of an event is emitted with 1155s. Anyway, where were we? So we're looking for a transfer batch. All these are transfer singles. Painted. Approval. Artist withdraw. Nope. Are there no transfer batch? Oh, there you go. Okay. So there is transfer batch, but I don't quite like this one because there's only one. It's supposed to be it can have multiple IDs and values, because if you're just transferring one ID, then you might as well use transfer single instead of transfer batch. So because I know what I want now, let's filter for it. Like so. So this is my transfer batch, and then remove the qualify, and then do a limit. Oh, did I copy the transaction hash? Oh, damn it. Oopsie. Which means this is wrong as well, damn it. Let's see, is there a transfer single somewhere here? There is. Okay, so I can just copy this. There you go. Okay, cool. Okay, so now I filter for transfer batch. Let's look through transfer batch. Batch join, transfer batch, nope. Nope. This weird what's this weird batch join thing? Ah, there you go. See how it says there are two IDs and then there are two values here. So the first ID here is a token ID, and the value here would mean there's only one copy of token ID 257 being transferred, and then 49 would mean there's only one copy of 49, the token ID 49 being transferred from this address to this address. And then there's an extra field called operator. Not exactly sure what this means. And you have the contract address as the NFT address. Alright, this is perfect example. So I am going to use this as an example, and then for transfer single, I need to find again for transfer single. Yeah. Okay, sure, why not, right? Just a batch. This is space. Okay, so we can now remove this and create our transfer single. So this would be 1155, but transfer single. And the way we would filter for that is the same, where we say select from logs, remove this contract address, where what is this token ID? Okay, perfect. There's a transfer single here. Okay, cool. So where transaction hash is this, and the topic is this, and topics one string is this. Alright, and then we can remove this. And again, what do we want? We just want block timestamp, session hash, contract address. Oh, what am I doing? I should just use this. Let's do it here, like so. Then I can just call it like this. Yeah, perfect. Okay. And then same with this. Oops. Then just call it FD address. Alright, okay. So what I just did there is I transferred this line to here, so that in my 1155 CTE I can just, call this instead of doing all this again. So let's copy everything from 7 to 1, and then from logs where topic is this, and this is my transfer single. Okay, cool. So let's refer to again what transfer single means. Transfer single, 1 will be operator, right? And then what we want is 2 and 3, so I would just change this to 2 and 3. And then in the data field, is interesting. We would try to see what it looks like in the data field. Alright, our from address is looking good, and our to address is looking good as well. Right, yeah, looks good. these values match. And then I'm also looking at the data, segmented of course, and whatever this data field means, it should match here. So here looks like the first 64 characters would be ID, and then followed by value, which is the quantity. So because it is an integer, we'll have to convert the hex values to integer. So this would be segmented 0, getting the first object in the segmented array, and yeah, this is token ID. And then the first one would be quantity. In this case it says value, but again, this just means the number of copies or quantity of this specific token ID being transferred. I think that's all we need. So let's just run this and see if it matches. The first event should say from this null address to this address 388 and 1, and then the second transfer single would say from this address to this address 388 and 1 as well. So the token IDs are right, quantity is correct. The from address starts from this, the null address to this address, and then the from address is the same address and it transfers to another address. Perfect. So that solves our, that's it for our 1155 transfer single. So let's create that CTE. So 1155 transfer single. Right, S, and then this whole thing. And now we've come to our final function, which is 1155 transfer batch. This one over here. So I have an example. So again, I'm just copying everything here. See what we can reuse, right? And then instead of this transaction, I have another transaction, which is this one. And then the topics one would now be this one over here. And this would be transfer batch. Yeah, alright, so let's see. So again, 0 and 1, 1 is operator, we don't need operator. From and to address would be 2 and 3, so we can reuse this 2 and 3. However, this is where it differs from transfer single. Transfer batch now means you can have multiple token IDs, and with multiple token IDs you then need multiple quantity, right? Which tells you like which quantity or which quantity ties back to which token ID. So let's comment this out and see what we are working with. Right, looks like the segmented data is now very long. And what I normally do is copy this thing and then again use this website to just paste and then see what we have. Now I have talked through in the traces videos on how you can use the of the concept of offsets, whereby whenever there are these things called like dynamic parameters, where it says, you see how it says uin 256 and then like 2 brackets or parentheses joining each other, right? That would mean there is it's an array, and there can be multiple values in them. And because it is an array, there will be offsets. Oh, I mean, I don't know what's the formal word, but there will be some rules applied to telling you the position of the values that you're looking for. Okay, and so for example, because there is two, which is IDs and values, the first two lines will tell you the offsets for each, which means the first line will tell you how many lines you need to skip before it starts talking about IDs. The second line will tell you how many lines you need to skip before it starts talking about values. So you need to convert hex from hex to int. So this converted from hex to integer will be 64, and 64 means bytes. So 64 bytes means 1 to 8 characters long, which also means 2 lines. So each line has 64 characters, right, or 32 bytes. So 64 bytes just means ignore the first 2 lines. The third line is where you will start talking about IDs. So the second line, we skip the first 2. The third line is where we start the IDs, and this line will tell us how many objects are there in the array. And again, it should be converted from hex to int. So hex to int of this will be 2, right? It's just 2. So it means in this ID array there are 2 objects. So the next 2 lines represents the ID. Again, this means token ID, and you need to convert from hex to integer. Now we're done with the ID, right? It tells us how many are there in the ID, which is 2. So this is the first ID, this is the second ID. What about this line over here? The next line naturally would represent values. We can also know for sure because if we go back to the second line, remember the second line is the offset for values, and if we convert this from hex to int, say hex to int, it is 160, and 160 divided by 32 bytes is 5 lines. So skip 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip 5 lines. The next line then starts information about values. In this case, because value is an array, and this will tell us how many objects are there in the value array. And convert this from hex to int, it is 2. So the next 2 would be the quantity, or in this case, values, right? So how do we extract this? First, we need to apply these rules of offsets, right? And that determines where our token ID starts and where our quantity starts. So extract this out, and then join on, create a row number, right? And then join on this with this. And that's how we would get the token ID along with the quantity assigned to the token ID. Okay, I would recommend replaying what I just said to fully understand this thing about offsets and some rules around arrays. But let's get started. So I'm gonna call this as raw ERC1055 batch raw. Okay. Okay, so how do I start? I know the first 2 lines would represent how much offset I need to give. So segmented, the first one would be token ID offset, right? Hex to int. The second one would be quantity offset. Yeah. So first line token ID offset, second line quantity offset. What do I need? And then the third line, yeah, because there's only two things over here, which is ID and values. The third line would naturally mean the start of the quantity, sorry, the token ID array. Right, so yeah, 64. I need to divide by 32. So divide by 32, 32, and this would tell me how many lines to skip. And if I know the token ID offset, which is 2, I can now use segmented 2, this one, right, to tell me how many objects are there in this array. So I need this conversion because it is in hex. This tells me token ID array objects, right? And then same thing tells me quantity objects. Yeah. Alright, so let's verify, right? So the first offset is skip 2 lines, which is exactly what we saw earlier. Quantity offset skip 5 lines, which is exactly. And then there are 2 token IDs in the array, and there are 2 quantity, and these numbers should match. Okay, so now to actually get to the actual data, how do we get to it? Well, let's see. Where is the data? Okay, so we need this token ID, right? And this token ID, we know it is the first token ID because we know the offset, and we know the start of the array. So technically, we can just filter for the start of the array plus how many objects in the array, and that would give us the range of the location for all of the token IDs. So it would be something like so let's just say like case when I'll just need to plus for now. So segmented, so I need this, which is token ID offset. So it offsets the first 2, and then I'm on 0, 1, 2. I'm on the exact one that I need, and then plus or between this and segmented token ID offset plus the objects. So this one. So let's think through, right? So this would be between segmented 2 and segmented. So this is 2 and this is 4. Yeah, 2 plus 2 is 4. So between 2 and 4, which is not exactly right because we need 3 and 4. So which means because the offset is 0, 1, 2, and the actual value starts after the offset, so this needs to be offset plus 1. So I'll just do a case when how do I actually name this. Can I just say something like where case when do I need some index or something to tell me this number? Yeah, I need to flatten first to tell me this number. Then I can say like, you know, this is my filter, um my filter, yeah, my filters basically. So let's do that. Lateral flatten, input is segmented, and then yeah, let's just do this first. And then I would want to say something like where my index where my index between token ID plus offset and this one, token ID offset plus the number of objects in the token ID array. I believe this should be it. Looks like it. Oh, why did I not plus one here? Okay. So this should give us 2 rows, and the 2 rows should be the token IDs, which would be this value over here. So now I just need to use this flatten as my token ID. So I'm gonna call this token ID I don't know, token ID flatten. And then I just need the transaction hash, event index, index, which is this one over here. Actually, I don't need this. Wait, I do. Oh, do I? And then convert this value from hex to int. So something like this. And this would be my token ID. And then I'll do a row number, which should tell me the position of this index. So partition by tx hash event index order by index ascending as intra grouping. Select all from this. Okay. So now my flatten again, 2 rows, each row should tell me the token ID. Yeah, there you go. And then there is also the intra grouping, which should tell me the order of the transfer event. So if we check with the base scan, we see the ID indeed is 257 and 49. Yeah. And that is its order as well. Alright, so now that I have my token ID, what about my quantity? So I'll do the same for quantity, whereby I would need to flatten again, but this time instead of token ID flatten, it is the quantity. And instead of token ID array objects, this would be Sorry, this is not array objects. This should be offset. Yeah, offset. Because yeah, it's offset. And so from that same logic, this should be quantity offset. And then plus quantity array objects. And yeah, this is and this would be quantity. Let's just run this and see what we get. Alright, looks good. Quantity is indeed 1, which is like what we're looking for. Ideally, we will have an example where the quantity is different, so we can really be sure that this is correct. But if we just follow the formula of looking or counting where the offset begins and how many objects are there in the array, I think this formula should be good. So now we need to join all these tables again, right? This raw table with these flattened versions. So I'm gonna call this as like final and then select from this table inner join, or I mean technically you can join these two first and then join it to final table just to make it easier. So let's just do that. Flatten final as token ID inner join quantity ID using tx hash event index and the order, and then what do I need? This one, quantity, grouping, and token ID. So if I were to join the two, I should get two lines of two rows of results, and each row would represent the token ID and also quantity. So like this. And yeah, looks like we've got what we wanted. So now that we have a final flatten, we can join with our raw table. So our raw table is this. So select from the raw table, inner join with the flattened final using transaction hash event index, and then we're gonna copy back all this. Or well, we just need this actually. So we have NFT address, from address, to address, token ID, and quantity. And because we need this intra grouping to tell us the order, right? Now it's telling us the order where 257 comes first before 49. So we need this in our final table. So ERC 1155 batch final as this, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So now we can combine everything, right? Select all from our 7 to 1, which is this, and then union all, select all from our 1155 transfer single, which is this, and then batch final. And because batch final introduced a intra grouping, I'm going to add a new intra grouping column for all the types. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's just run this to see it works. If it does, then we just need to okay, so something is wrong. Column so block timestamp transaction hash event index topics data segmented NFT address From address to address. Oh, okay, there's a quantity not accounted for here. So I'm just gonna include 1 as quantity. And that should do the trick. Yeah, looks like it did. Okay, cool. Cool. Looks like we have everything, right? So we have an example for 7 to 1, 1155 transfer single, and of course 1155 transfer batch. And you know, like if you want to make this into a raw table, of course, just remove all these filters where you're filtering for a transaction hash. But yeah, that's basically it, right? That's how you go from event logs to making yourself a raw NFT transfers table, where we included ERC 721 and also ERC 1155 standards. And I will also leave this query link in the video description. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. Bye.